Hi, and welcome to Design by Kathy. And I'm Kathy. Today I'm going to show you how to paint and resin decorative boat oar. So, I've got the prep set up. Let's get started. What we're going to use for this project is, I'm going to be using all apple barrel paints. This is a cobalt blue, bright blue, and I wanted this lighter blue, which is parrot blue, and then of course white. I'm also going to be using Art Resin epoxy. It's a two-part epoxy, which I've already mixed up for us. Now I primed this little boat oar with my 123 Bullseye primer. So put a coat of primer on here. I've got this prepped. As you can see, I've got the little paddle. The front side is all primed. Now the back side, I've taped it off. This is just because the runoff from the resin, so it won't, make the big bulk up or pimply things that can do that on the back. So we've got that all ready. Now this came from Art Minds. I got this at Michael's and it's by Art Minds. It's funny, I've had it sitting around and people thought it looked like a, well, you younger people won't know, but back in the day in schools, the principal always had a paddle that looked very similar to this, but this is a boat oar for my purpose. The paddle came with this little rope on it to, if you wanted to tie it or, to hang it, if you were going to hang it. So what I did, I've stuffed a piece of plastic wrap down in the hole so the resin wouldn't just flow through there and stop it up or, fill it up. So I put this little piece of plastic. We'll see how well that works. So I've got my resin, my two-part epoxy mixed up here. I have used one equal amount each, 1 ounce, these little 1 ounce measuring cups. I've mixed it together and stirred it, and we've let it sit for the appropriate time, which is different on each resin. Some say 5 minutes, some say 3, some don't really say. I guess you can just go for it right then. But that process does is allow any bubbles, they will rise to the top. And while we know bubbles are good in champagne and at weddings, you don't want them in your resin projects. So I'm going to see if I can pretty evenly distribute this to I have 4, colors of paint, so I've got 4 cups. See if I can kind of evenly distribute this. Okay, that was 2 full ounces, but I'm thinking that's not going to be enough. So hang tight. We're going to make just a little more resin. So all in all, I have a total of 4 ounces of resin here, and I've divided them between these cups I'm going to add my paint to. I want to say just a little bit about resin. When you order your resin, you'll get some little cups, little plastic cups like this. They are, you can see, you can bend it, which helps in pouring if you're going to do a small amount and use, actually use your measuring cups. Sometimes, depending on the size of the project, I'll do a ½ ounce of part A and then the other ounce in part B, and I just use this little cup. For a bigger project, you'll need a bigger, of course, cup. These are just little plastic, like Dixie-like cups. This is 10-ounce cup. Resin is a lot of fun to use. I've been using it for about 3 years with projects, and I've never had any issues, but recently, and that's why I want to just say a little word of caution. Stick to what is recommended on resin for sure. I saw on a post, it was a post that I follow, and the gal, at first she didn't show what she had actually used, but she said her resin started smoking and it melted the container she'd put it in. So she called the company, and I don't remember which one, it doesn't really matter, but when she finally showed what she had used to mix it in, it was one of those kind of little thin plastic things that like comes on the top of like takeout food, you want to just stick with, you know, like a Dixie cup type thing. I've never, out of 3 years of using various different kinds of resin, never had any problems with this at all. So like I said, I don't know what happened in her situation, but just stick to what is recommended. Also, resin is not something. I've also seen some of these gals that were doing projects and on their kitchen table, and resin went all over their floor or their countertop. Well, as you know, or if you've watched any other resin projects or my resin projects, it hardens like glass. So it's not something you want to just look at as like, oh, it's like paint, I'll get it out later, because that just isn't going to work. But it is fun to use. Some people recommend or have to use like a dust cover thing. I don't notice the odor. I guess I'm not that sensitive to it, but you know, if you're going to try it for the first time and you're overly sensitive to things and smells, I would definitely do that. You know, put something protective, and also wear your protective gloves. It's not the easiest thing in the world to get off, like even immediately. You certainly don't want to leave it on your hands for any amount of time. I keep baby wipes while doing any of my resin projects, because if it gets on you like immediately, the baby wipes will take it right off. No sticky, no nothing. It takes it right off, which is a little concerning since we do use baby wipes on babies' butts. But it does, and that was a double butt, wasn't it? It does work on getting your resin off, or you know, even wiping it off of a surface. But you have to do it quickly. Now this little boat oar, I'm using these colors because these are the colors that are actually on my sailboat. So I'm thinking that once this cures and dries and whatnot, I don't know, I was kind of thinking I might put my boat name on it and hang it inside the boat as decor. It's coming out a little thick there, but I think we'll be okay. Okay, now we're going to do this like the dirty pour method that we've done before. So I'm going to start layering. Let's start layering my colors. I'm going to start with white. Oh, something went sailing off my table. Then I'm going to go with, you know, I've got two kind of dark blues. So I'm going to go with this blue. I think this is I'll tell you in a minute. I can't remember. But then I want the lighter blue. This blue, what I say, parrot blue. This is like the actual color of the trim on the outside of the boat. So this will look really well. Then I'm going to go back with, I think this is the cobalt. And then we're going to continue to layer until all my paint, I've got all my paint in here. Okay, we're almost there, folks. Now basically what we did was color the resin. It doesn't take a huge amount of paint. You're just basically wanting to color the resin. I may have, I think with my white, because you noticed it was coming out a lot slower, I may have put just a little too much paint ratio of resin that I had in there. But hopefully when it all mixes together here as the end result, since I do have more white left, I'm gonna I'm gonna end with my, see, that's just way too thick. But like I said, I hope once it comes out and it's gonna all play well together. Okay, let me set these out of the way. I want to get every last bit. I think there is more here to be had. So, don't want to waste. And I guess, you know, let me just say a word about why I mixed up, you know, and I had to stop and make. I don't like to, I try to be careful with, I don't like a lot of waste, let me just say. So, while, you know, being conservative with your mixes is a good thing, oops, at the same time, you don't want to, you know, be trucking along there in your project and then not have enough. Because oftentimes when you remix, if you've already mixed it with your paints, you remix and you don't get exactly this, you know, matching colors. Okay, so now I'm gonna put my gloves on, and we're gonna start pouring and see what we get here. Doing the dirty pour, it's fun. You don't really know what kind of pattern. I'm gonna set this out of the way as well. You don't necessarily know what kind of pattern you're gonna get, but that's part of the fun to me. Make sure I have everything out of the way, because it is gonna run over the edges here. But I've got down protectives, you know, of course I've just got this this little cheap tablecloth on my table, but then I put down the plastic wrap. Okay, so instead of just pouring it out in one place, I'm going to go along like so. Gonna hope that that hole's steady there on that hole, because I don't want to fill up the hole. So we're going to do this much the same method that we've done on some of the other dirty pours. I'm going to start tilting and let the paints run off the edge. It's moving. It's not moving fast, but it's moving. I want to get all of it covered. Oops. Okay, I'm sorry if I got that out of the screen view, because there is, it's a little, it's longer than I think my viewing window is there. Okay, so we're going to continue to keep manipulating this. So you see how around the handle, hopefully, like I said, hopefully it's not going down in my little hole there. Now this will continue to just kind of flow off the edges, and that's what we want it to do. I'm going to tilt it in this direction though, just for easy. I'm sorry, but well, I don't know, because you can't see if I do that. So I'm gonna still try to pick it up and see if we can let it go that way. This is hard to, this is a little hard to maneuver, I guess I should say. Still see some little areas there that it's not flown into. Sorry, my hands are shaking. I kind of got them in a bind here. Sorry. There we go. Okay. And look how on the end, see, it's just going super nice. See if I can maneuver this back around. Okay, that little piece of plastic is kind of bugging me. I want to like kind of help this little area. You know, once you can get resin to start flowing in a direction, it's like water, you know, flowing down a little stream or something. Once it makes its way out, you know, you break the dam and it's gonna continue. It's gonna go. Let's see if we can do the same thing right here so it can show you what I'm talking about. Let's see. Well, whoopsie. Okay, I hope you can see this right here. And let's see if I can just kind of start it over the edge without changing up my pattern. And now it's going perfectly. I've got this supported on just a couple of paint cans. I want all the edge to be covered, so you can kind of help it along. On these edges. I've stuck that in the wrong thing, so what I'm going to do is see if I can drizzle some of this. Ugh. So I'm just going to take it on my popsicle stick, just drizzle it over these edges right here. And my resin is thickening up, so it's getting to that place where it's not quite as easy to work with. But I still have a little work time left with it, so I want to make sure, I don't know why I keep saying sure, sounds like the shore, but well, now that, if I do say so myself, is looking very pretty. Let's see if we can get these little edges over here. Or not edges, well, sides, whatever you want to call them. And see, as I dab that along, I want some of that other color in there. Can't seem to get any out. There we go. Even though it's getting a little thicker, it's still in the state that it will flow. I just want that to continue to keep that same pattern is, you know, what you want to have happen. So I want to get a little here and just let that flow. I'm taking some of the color from, you know, my other mix cups. Just because I don't want it to look like it's solid anywhere. Well, I will let this cure for, well, I can move it after about 10 to 12 or 10 to 12 hours. I can pick it up and move it. Now, during that time, I'll come back and kind of make sure I scrape underneath. Again, like I said, I have the tape, which will help protect that, but I don't want, you know, these to, well, basically they look like icicles. So I don't want those on there. And once they harden, they're like glass. So we'll come back and do that. And then I think I'll put my boat name on it and hang it on the wall. Well, that's it, folks. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions about resin or this project, don't hesitate to comment below. I hope you'll like and share, and please subscribe. Pick a project and make it yours, make it personal, and you can do it. Thanks.